Hello everyone, it sure is good to be doing this today. This is going to be the very first audio message for this public YouTube channel. We'd like to go ahead and thank the Lord for all the blessings that He has bestowed upon me, my family, and my church, my community, and just everyone all around the world. Just thank God for everything. Today is gonna be a kind of a late introduction video of this YouTube channel. That's probably the very first video I should have done, but I didn't do that, so apologies. um, but the introduction video is going to be a whole lot different than what others do. My introduction video is going to be about my testimony, and that's going to be the testimony of where I found the Lord, when I found the Lord, and everything like that. And I will go ahead and say it's been a rough journey, but I can say it's been a good journey. You know, I can say that God has blessed each and every one of us with more good days than He has bad days. And really and truly, the days go the way they do because of how we react to them. I seen a thing one time, and I'll get right into my testimony in just a minute, but I seen a thing one time that said life is 90% of what happens to us, but 10% of how we react to it. Sometimes our reaction is not the right reaction. I can say that for a fact. Some things happen in life and we react to it in a wrong way. But I will say it's good to be a child of God. It feels good to be a child of God. It started, I would say, back, I want to say October, November of 2021. You know, it seemed like in that time period, everything began to fall apart. Everything began to fall apart in my life. Everything was not going right. I was happy, and I had the peace, but everything started to go wrong. And everything that could go wrong did go wrong, if you understand what I'm saying. But we got over into November, and there was a situation come up, and I didn't know whether I was going to make it or not. Basically, mentally, I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it mentally or not. Not physically, but mentally. Because something happened, and I didn't know how the situation was going to turn out, but in the end, God took care of everything. He basically, what He was doing, He was showing mercy. He was extending His mercy upon me. So many times, so many opportunities He had to take me out of this world, but He still had mercy on me. And we got over into December and all such as that. And the farther we went, the more I began to, I guess, feel less happy, feel less at peace. And we got over into January of 2022. I love being able to tell my testimony because when I tell it, it feels good. Because I know what I have. And not only that, what I have is real. What I have is very real. But we got over into January, and on January the 1st, I believe it was January the 1st of 2022, our neighbor had passed away due to a stroke. And these people had a family cemetery on the property, so that's where they had the burial at. And there was one night, and it was January the 8th of 2022. It was a Saturday night. I pulled back my curtain in my bedroom, and I had a very good eye view of that cemetery. It was there. I could see it from my bedroom. And I looked down there, and I thought, you know, that could be me down there. That could be me down there. I didn't have no peace in saying that. So I knew then something was wrong. You get what I'm saying? I knew then that something was wrong. Because I didn't have no peace and I was not happy. I had a very long night that night. A very long night. The more the night went on, the less happy I became. The more the night went on, the less peace I could feel. And I began to ponder and think and just sit. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't find peace in doing anything. Tried turning on the TV, did not work. Tried laying down, going to sleep, that made it even worse. I got a total of 2 hours of sleep that night. And it was Sunday morning, January the 9th of 2022. I woke up, and guess what? I was still not happy. I still wasn't at peace. And I began to get dressed for church. And the weight got so heavy that I just stopped everything. I stopped doing everything. And I walked over to my chest of drawers. And I just bowed my head and I said, Lord, if it is me that is lost, convict me and save me. And when I said that, conviction fell on me. The fear of hell fell on me. And I began to pray, Lord, what do I do? And I knew that whole time, well, all you got to do is just bow and pray and get saved. But it's having to get to that point. It's having to put the devil aside and say, I got to do this. I got to go get this. And I just prayed, Lord, if you'll just get me to church. Let me be around my church family. I said, if you'll just do that, please. And we was driving down the road, and it got to a point to where I was just getting ready to say, pull this vehicle over and let me out of here. Because the fear was just so strong. And the closer we got to church, the more the fear, the heavier the weight got. And we got inside the church house, and I usually had sat up on the front bench, but that morning I couldn't even look up hardly. So there was no way I was going to sit on the front bench. And I sat back with my mom and my grandparents. And they got up and they started singing the joys of heaven and everything like that. And I couldn't sing because I couldn't catch a breath. And when they got done singing, the pastor got behind the stand. He knew what was going on. He knew what was going on because God had already proved it to be true. And he got behind the stand and he said, somebody here this morning needs God. That's all he said. That's all he said. Somebody here this morning needs God, and that's all it took. I just laid aside the devil's, because he was telling me, you shouldn't go up there, then people make fun of you. I just put him aside, and I looked at Mom, and I said, we're going to have to go pray. We're going to have to go pray. Of course, I was already down there praying before anybody could get down there to me. But I begged God that morning to save my soul so that I would not have to die and go to hell. And he saved my soul that morning. And he's been good to me ever since. I do wrong, I fail, I come short. But God always comes out on top. And I thought about this yesterday, and I want those... You might be listening to this and you might be lost, I don't know, but I want you to know that the Lord loves you. And I want to tell you something that came to me yesterday. And I don't know why this came to me, but it's like God took a natural thing and made it into a spiritual thought. And I'm sure we all have had to temporarily fix stuff in our life. But when you only temporarily fix it, it doesn't stay forever. You fix it, it'll do good for a little bit, then it'll fall apart again. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Fix it, do good for a little bit, then it'll fall apart again. We all have temporarily fixed things in our life. But let me tell you something. When we finally got that part or that piece to fix it completely, until we got that, we was just continually falling apart, doing good, falling apart, doing good, falling apart. But when we got that piece, when we got that part that made it complete, it was like brand new. And if you're out there and you're lost today, just know that's what your life is like right now. You have a temporarily fixed life. You have a temporarily fixed life. You do good for a little bit, then you fall apart. Then you try to make a way to fix it again, and in just a little bit, it falls apart again. But let me tell you something. When you get that piece or that part that makes it complete, that makes it brand new, when you get that, you'll be so happy. You'll be so happy that you got it fixed. Let me tell you something this morning. That piece, that part that's missing is Jesus. Salvation. You're missing it. You're missing it. And you're just temporarily fixing your life, okay? You're just temporarily fixing your life. You're doing good and then you fall apart. And then you revert to something else. You go to something else to help you do better, and then you fall apart again. But let me tell you something. When you get Jesus in your life, when you apply that salvation part in your life, you'll be made whole. You'll be made complete. You won't have to worry about a temporarily fixed life ever again, because your life will be fixed forever. So you might be here and you might be lost listening to this. All I can tell you is that the Lord loves you, and if He's calling to you, just answer. If He's calling to you, answer. Thank you. God bless you.